So now the start.
Okay, sir.
It is an immense pleasure in welcoming you all to the National Webinar on Technology Development in Efficient Teaching Methods for a period of 7 days, 23rd June to 29th June. Today happened to the third day on the topic paradigm shifts of education system in India. May I request Professor Mohammad Gauss to give you a beautiful introduction about our resource person. Professor S.M. Shivakumar, Associate Professor, Head and Department of PG Studies and Economics, St. Francis D. Sales College, Bangalore. Welcome, sir.
Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you, sir.
I'm audible?
Yes, sir. Audible, sir.
Yeah, thanks.
Welcome,
Okay.
welcome, Professor Aliya, sir.
Yeah.
Sarvana, sir.
Huh?
Welcome,
First, welcome.
Dr. Aliya.
Sorry.
First, welcome address.
Right. May I request Mr. Dr. M. Sheikh Aliyar, Associate Professor, C. Abdul HAKEEM College. Please welcome, sir.
Okay, sir. A very good evening to everyone present here. With warm greetings, it gives me a great pleasure to extend a warm welcome on behalf of the Department of History, C. Abdul HAKEEM College, MELVISHARAM, in association with Department of History, PACHAIYAPPA'S College, Chennai, conducting the 7 days national level faculty development program on technology development in efficient teaching methods. I welcome our beloved principal, Dr. S. Sajid of C. Abdul HAKEEM College and Dr. R. Sri Jayanti of PACHAIYAPPA'S College for their continuous support. I also welcome Dr. M.B. Mohammad Farooq, HOD of History, C. Abdul HAKEEM College, and Dr. R. Saravanan, Program Convener and the HOD of History, PACHAIYAPPA'S College. I welcome today's resource person, Professor S.M. Shivakumar, Associate Professor and HOD of PG Studies in Economics, St. Francis D. Sales College, Bangalore, to give his address on a paradigm shifts of education system in India. I welcome the organizing secretary, Dr. P. Kumaran, and all the staff members of both colleges. Last but not least, I welcome all the mass participants for this program. I hope.
Floor is yours, sir. Welcome, sir.
Thank you very much, sir. I would like to thank all the professors, faculties of PACHAIYAPPA'S College and HAKEEM's Degree College, and the Honorable Principal, and the other management and non-teaching staff to provide me an opportunity to be a part of this FDP program. And as I was going through the website of this PACHAIYAPPA'S College, one thing came to my mind. That is, whenever there's a crisis, so there's an opportunity which arises. So when I looked into the history of this PACHAIYAPPA'S College, so as I came to know that a great philanthropist, he established this institute 150 years ago. So the objective of this institution establishment was to provide education and nurture the youths. So with this small introduction, I would like to continue my today's present scenario, what is happening. So I'd like to go with a quote. A school is not paradise, but school is a place where paradise can be created. This is what the PACHAIYAPPA'S College and HAKEEM's Degree College and all the various institutions across the world and in India, what we are into. So the classroom, with all its own limitations, we are remained with the great possibilities. So I'd like to quote with the Socrates quote, I cannot teach anybody anything. I can only make them think. So this is what I feel. What a privilege, teacher who are all here present and who have been pursuing this noble profession. We are not only to teach. to make the youth to think. So when they start thinking, analyzing, criticizing, when they look around the situation, so how to overcome the situation. So this is yes, sir. Are you able to listen to my voice, sir?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Proceed,
Hello?
sir.
Can I go ahead? Yeah. Okay.
Yes, yes.
yes,
Thank
Go
you.
ahead, sir.
Yes, sir. Proceed.
Yeah. So with this quote of Socrates, so we are all here not only to teach. So the days are gone where the knowledge was in the book. It is not only the facts and figures which the students has to be taught in the education institution. It is the crisis management. So today the students were all been in this pandemic from past 2 to 3 years. So definitely the students will come out with a better opportunity for a better living. So we are all here as a professors, teachers, and being the stakeholder of this education system. They're thriving to see that the education system has to be improved a lot. So all these from past 20 to 30 years, Nobel teachers, professors, they thought of bringing a change to this education system in India. So there was no other possible ways were there. And there's a new education policy 2020, which was to be implemented. But we can see this because of this COVID-19. And it has also given an immense opportunity, the crisis. So which made us to get prepared to this situation and know where we are being into a new education policy. So which makes the student community to think, analyze and criticize and to go about. Education is not only what is being taught in the classroom. It is not the facts and figures. It is about how the students has to take up this education. How are they going to learn? Learning skills have changed. So today the Google, lot of internet websites like Google, which gives you all information to the student, whatever he wants. Then what is the purpose of a teacher in the present scenario? So this makes a very big question among us. So what I prefer is, today the education system is not only to give information, it is about utilizing the information for the better prospects. So this is what today is the future of education. The future of education is not in the way of making student to know the facts. The facts are already been available in the various different platforms. It is not only the textbooks today. The physical textbooks have gone, the internet, online, everything is available through websites. So informations are there, but how to interpret information, how to move forward, and how we should make the students to think, analyze and criticize to know the values of education system. So today what I feel is, once again the education system is upholding the values of our education system. So with this quote, I would like to move forward. So let me know the statistics of our countries. So according to annual status of education report, this report was framed from the year 2013 to 2018. So this report suggests that so there's a steady decline in the enrollment rates at the primary level. So the primary level, there's a decline of students enrollment. It is not only, so we will think that because of COVID-19, there's a decline in admissions now. Earlier to this, when you look into these facts, the report from 2013 to 2018 shows there's a sharp decline in enrollment rates at the primary level. So what is the reason? What may be the reason? The reasons are like the economic, socio-economic reasons. So let me look into it. So the dropout rates in the secondary education have been consistently high. So what makes the students to drop out at the secondary level of education? So it is also a alarming rate. And the third, the output is the more girls are enrolled in schools across with different grades. The gender equity ratio shows that the 21% of increase in enrollment of girls to schools. The enrollment of private schools has increased since 2013 to 14. So a lot of private schools which have penetrated to the villages, rural areas, and so here what happens, the parents, the children, the mindset differs. When the private institutions penetrate to the village, remote areas, so all the parents have the mindset that the private institutions are much better than to the government schools. So Because of this, the poor people, they couldn't afford to get into this private schools at a very early stage. And during this, because of their poverty and the socio-economic reasons, and the students and the parents, their economic situation will lead to a decline in admissions. 85% of schools are located in rural areas. So there are 15 lakh schools across the country, out of which 85% of schools are located in rural areas, but the admission rates have been declined. 11 lakh schools are government schools. So you can look into the statistics. Above all the statistics, you can see there's a decline rate at primary level, at secondary level. And the more enrollment of girls, it is, as we know that, it is because of privileges, and it is the importance given across the publicity about the equality among the girls and boys has given rise, sharpened the admission rates. 75% of all teachers are based in rural locations. So you can just see the statistics. The irony of the statistics is, though the schools are located more in rural areas, more teachers have been appointed into rural areas, but still what we can find is the education at the grassroots level, still it has not been popped up. So this is what this statistical report says to us. So now let me understand. So all we are aware that, so today the COVID-19, so it has given a lot of challenges to the education system. So let me understand what are the challenges which are faced across the country. The first challenge is like child nutrition. The child nutrition. So in the developed countries, most of the parents, 60% of the children are been having their education in government schools in developed countries. So the irony of our developing country. If you look across the developed countries, most of the schools are run by the government and which has an efficient education system. The reason is the nutritional food available to the children at these government schools are high. So more number of students are getting enrolled at developed countries. But in India, you can see the child nutrition is also plays one of a important role where the students are denied with. Here, the minimal food is what provided. Nutritional food, which is another concern which has to be addressed. Next is the parents' dilemma. Always, whenever a parents, so the poor children, they do not have any facilities or any support to get into the education system. When these poor kids walk away from his place and he sees to any private schools, what you can see is, you can see their parents nurturing the children, taking care of those kids, and the school, the students, how they have been, these children have been treated. So this makes these rural children where they have been neglected with this minimum education system. So there's parents have a dilemma that whether they have to make the students to join the government schools or private schools. Social isolation. So still today in India, you can find isolation in the sense about the casteism exists in different village, rural areas. So where there's a social isolation among the regionalities, it still exists, which also hampers the students' education system. Non-rivalry of the resources, non-availability of all the resources, in the sense the teaching aids, kits, and the teacher training programs, which are still lacks in rural areas. The dropout rates are high in rural areas. Awareness programs, training to the use of online tools, which is still at an infant stage. And you all know that the FDP programs, which are been continuously been popped up in various institutions, making us as a teacher to get known to this. This is what you can see what's happening. And difficulty in navigate impact of campus placements. The next comes about the placement. So the placement is worst in India and compared to any other country. So here the placement is a concept which is only at the higher education. So when the students completes its graduation, there the placement comes into picture. But the new education system has brought a wonderful idea within it. The students are made free to work out at various levels of his pursuing his education level, he can go back, take a break to his convenience, to his any economic reasons, he can work, can come back and he can continue. So education become an aspiring dream to the youths in future days. It is not so that if the time is gone, education is gone. The time has gone. Those times have gone. Where every parent used to tell to a kid that, so it's the time for you to get educated. The time constraint was there for the students. But now the time constraint has been removed. And every student has a right and has an aim or a dream where he can pursue his higher education at any point of time. And this is another advantage of this new education system. Students are made aware of the importance of education, and he is free to walk in and walk out from this education system, and he can avail the benefits. The assessment procedures which have been across the institutions, which is also made in the initial stage may be tougher, but coming days it may find easy. And there's a multidisciplinary of subjects which has been taught, the present education system. And there is a multilingual languages which have been taught to the students at the very initial stages, which make the students to know about the various other cultures and other disciplines. And there is so the digital divide, which was earlier happened from past 10 years. So today, so earlier we used to say in India more than 25 lakh students every year will enroll for distance education. The distance education was a mode of education where the students used to aspire to complete their education doing his work. But today, this distance education has been converted into an online education. So there is no obstacles or any hindrances for the students who is pursuing his education, where the online education, the mode, it has become a very simpler and common mode for everyone. Whether he is on a regular mode, earlier there was two diversification, regular mode and distance mode. Now there is a gap between these two has been reduced. So today there is no gap between a regular mode or a distance mode. So the online has brought up these two arena of groups of students and the two sectors, societies, where the students at the earliest stage they suffer to overcome their economic situation and they may not able to pursue their higher education. That as the gap has been reduced. And the students who are in regular mode, where the parents strive to bring into this education system, so they are also been given a reduction. So the online mode has made all the students to made available to get into this education system. So this online has come up with a lot of various platforms, which is very easily accessible to all remote areas of our country. So still the gap has to be reduced in this regard. And there are a lot of challenges which not only the faculties or the teachers or the students domain who are looking ahead of this situation, but the crisis, whenever any economy goes within crisis, so there's a new era which always open up the education system. So during these past 2 years, the most challenges which has been arised is in education system, and most of the changes, development has also been brought in this education system. So this is, we have to be proud to say that so India has a new education system, a new thoughts, ideas have been made to evolve during this stages. So now let me understand what are those challenges which the education system is going to go across. It is so there are e-learning gateways, a lot of e-learning possibilities, websites have opened up. The government interventions have been into this, like MOOC websites where a lot of online programs have been implemented, and all those programs which have been introduced by the government through this online platform are all been monitored by the IIMs, IITs, and very efficient and very productive output can be expected among the students. So today education is not just only a formal way. Anybody can at any point of time, whether he is an arts graduate, whether he is an illiterate, he can show an interest. Education is not that that only people who has offered to have would be having it. No, it has gone. Any student at any corner, at any point from our country to any parts of the world is very easy to access to the education content, educative content, and he can pursue his education. So distance education learning has become a very easiest path. There are like short-term courses which makes the students very attractive to take up this. And teachers' knowledge and diversification has also been moved across. So it is not the situation only the scientists are they are going to take forward the society. It is now political scientists, economic scientists, are the scientists, social scientists, who are the other various multidisciplinary. So whenever any crisis arises, it's a multidisciplinary action to be taken, and it is a culmination of various other subjects which definitely will give us a solution. So today you can see this COVID-19 has given us an ample opportunity to see that various other forms of other streams of faculties, subjects are being given and more importance. Today, say the society, the study of society, the political scientists, the social scientists are much more in need to this situation, to take care of this situation. So now let me look into this. The number of learners, when you look into the last year's statistics, it shows that it is given on the day wise for the last February to March of last year. You can see the number of learners have increased due to the closure of schools. As the schools were closed, but the students' rate, you can just observe the learners have been increased drastically. It has increased to 1.4 billion. So what we can understand is the students of the present generation have tried to cope up with the technology, and it have made them to get into the technology. The technology savvy and the whatever the technology which was been there to the past year, which has showed a way for a new way of education system. So as the students in the rural areas, they may not be able to go to the schools to pursue their education. But this online education, an interactive session of both the online and offline, has given a way for enrollment of more number of learners during this past 1 year. So you can, this is another comparison statement what I have taken against the poverty rate and the broadband adoption rate. So you can just observe whichever those city areas where the poverty rate was more, you can see the broadband adoption rate was less. And where the poverty is less than 10%, that is the urban areas, you can see the broadband rate adoption rate is high. That is what the transmission of this internet facilities to the rural areas are much very less when compared to this other areas. So this is quite a very interesting aspect the government has to look upon to see that the broadband strength has to be increased to the rural areas where we can attract less than 10% poverty rate, where we can see that more the poverty, the less the broadband, which is accessible to the rural areas. So the other various platforms what we can look across is like a lot of various websites have come across with different modules and different teaching aids and tools like ThinkLink, Bouncy, Edpuzzle, Kaltura, Neopod, PeerDeck, and Squill. So these are various platforms which are made available to the faculties to have the tools to enhance their teaching skills. So the few recommendations which I would like to suggest is like educational TV programs. So we have an entertainment. So all these days we found that the mobile was used to only for gaming. So but today the same children, the students have realized that no more mobile is like a chat box or a gaming kid. It's another educative content where it can be used for learning purpose. and the languages barrier has been overcome. So there is a affordable electronic gadgets which are available. Government intervention in providing e-learning, laptop facilities are made available to all schools. Teachers are getting trained, and the artificial intelligence which has enhanced this e-learning delivery. And the companies, a lot of private entrepreneurs come up with a lot of modules where more number of students have been attracted for this new way of education system. Yeah, I would like to share another slide. 1 minute.
Sir, please unmute your mic, sir.
1 minute, sir. I would like to share another slide.
Okay.
Yeah. So when we look into this last 50 years of our education system, so what we can find is, so our education system was like a rote learning where the students were given only the information. But today the education system has changed. So the new era of education system, which has made the student to look at the all avenues of all faculties of subjects. So for example, if a student would like to pursue engineering, but he is also been given an opportunity to know about the society. So there is a multidisciplinary subjects which are introduced into this new education system, which makes the student to more aware of the economic system and the society where he lives in, and his contribution to the society will also plays a very important role. So no more the students will become more selfish about their own living. They definitely would like to look across about the country people, and the nation, and they definitely would like to contribute